Welcome to SBR Forum Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are previewing the 2013 Belmont Stakes right now with John Pricci, executive editor at Horse Race Insider and racing analyst for Fox Sports 980 AM. We just got finished discussing the long shots. Before that, we discussed the three favorites in the race. Now we're going to talk about general betting value and my favorite way to bet the Triple Crown races, matchup props. John Pricci, thanks for being with us.
My pleasure, Peter.
All right, so let's just talk about general betting value, what horses we might want to fade, what horses we might want to lean towards betting on, and matchup props. I'll tell you right now, what do I like to see? I like to see horses with a lot of stamina in their pedigree and that didn't race in the Preakness. To me, that looks like Palace, Malice, and Revolutionary. I think I'd be leaning towards betting on both of those in matchup props and betting against, like I said, Oxbow, the Preakness winner, third choice at 5-1, one of the favorites. I think that he's probably a bit overrated right now. What do you think?
Well, if you're talking morning line odds and you're talking horse for horse, I would certainly think that Palace Malice at 15-1 is far more attractive than Oxbow is at 5-1.
Yeah, I agree with that.
As far as Revolutionary is concerned, while I prefer Revolutionary to Oxbow, I don't think that there's that much difference in the price to make any difference to me, and consequently, I would have no opinion on that particular matchup.
All right, and Orb, would you be looking to bet against him in matchup props, bet on him in matchup props? Do you think he's roughly appropriately valued and probably stay off?
Well, if he is I think he's appropriately valued as the favorite. I wouldn't want to take lower than early line odds, but I think 3-1 is a fair quote on him.
Okay, so we know you really like Palace Malice at the morning line of 15-1. Of all the other horses, are there any horses that have jumped out at you as maybe a little bit overvalued or undervalued at their morning line odds?
Well, the filly is just so you've been talking about pedigree all afternoon here, and she's very light on the dam side of her pedigree. But the thing that runs counter to that is the fact that she's just a huge filly. Yeah. So physically, she matches up very well with the boys. But her pedigree is a little light, and it could get to her later in the race. And I do think that the line maker, thinking that this is going to be a public, a touristy type crowd, that they might go for the romantically go for the filly against the boys, and the fact that the filly is going to be ridden by Rosie Napravnik, who is also very popular these days. The horse, because of the circumstances, will attract more money than she probably should, given the realities of what is being asked of her tomorrow. As far as, I won't talk about this in relation to price, but I will say there's a horse in here that kind of fascinates me by the name of Giant Finish. He's got enough of pedigree. He winds up with Edgar Prado. He's 30-1 on the morning line. Now, if he's 20-1, even if he's 20-1, I'm not interested. But, when you look at him, I could see where this horse could be 30 or 40-1. And of all the horses that I'm looking at, with respect to their early line odds, I would be inclined to use him, third and fourth in my superfectas, fourth more than third. A third might be a little ambitious.
Giant Finish was one of the long shots that I wanted to ask you about that I had circled myself as one that I thought might have some value. We didn't get to it, but yeah, we all remember what Prado did in 2004 with Birdstone, and he's got a great post at 4. I completely agree with you on Giant Finish. All right, John Pricci, before we let you go, just in general, how are you going to be looking to bet this race? Any thoughts you have on it?
Again, if at the 15-1 on the early line, Palace Malice at 12-1 or greater, I'm going to be looking at him for a win bet. While 3-1 would be great on Orb, I don't think you're going to get that. And I'm not inclined to take 5-2. I'm not inclined to take 2-1. So what I would do in that case is I would take Orb on top in a series of trifectas and superfectas, and underneath I would use the logical suspects. I would have to use the speed horse, Freedom Child, coming out of the Peter Pan, who's going to love the racetrack tomorrow. I would use Oxbow in a minor way, just because he's proven to be so tough. Do I like him tomorrow in that context? No. My best guess is that, he would regress rather than hold form. But that would be strictly a guess, because if you look at the past performances, this horse shows up every time. Revolutionary for sure. I mean, this is a horse that, I think is the second most likely winner. And, I also think in that context, he's probably the most likely second place finisher if this race does run according to form. So we have Revolutionary filling out the ticket, and then of course I would use Palace Malice as well. And in the fourth position, I'm going to use Giant Finish, as we just got finished talking about her, and I will use the filly, because I do expect her to run well. I don't expect her to stay the distance, but she can run very well. She can run her eyeballs out, and she could be a very good fourth in there, and she can do herself some good in terms of her overall value and reputation while not winning the race. So I'd be inclined to use her on the bottom of my superfectas as well. So that's how I would play the race. I would key Orb, in the first and a little bit in the second spot in tries and supers. And I would be looking to bet on Palace Malice to win. And, of course, this is all predicated on early line odds.
Absolutely. All right. John Pricci, executive editor from HorseRaceInsider.com. Thanks so much for joining us today. You gave us some great analysis and I think some very valuable insights. I'm looking forward to this race. Thanks so much, John.